Hey YouTube, it's Manny. So, unfortunately, my first custom water loop build has not gone particularly well. Some of you know that, some of you don't. Specifically around the GPU water block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the issues I had with it. I don't have a solution right now, but I will discuss possible solutions at the end of the video, right? So let's get on to it.
Alright guys, as discussed in my last YouTube short, my PC was not starting up and I had to figure out why. So I emptied everything out, I took apart the water block, and this is what it looked like when I took it apart. As you can see, the thermal paste is not even touching. So there was not good contact. The thermal pads were too thick or too rigid. They would not compress enough. So this is the first issue I faced. So I had to resolve that. All right, so my first experiment was pull all the thermal pads off of the water block and secure it down. Now I did that, and you can see this is the aftermath. No thermal pads, so you can see we actually got thermal paste now on the GPU. However, if you notice, it doesn't completely cover it. It's still, even with no pads on there to cause anything, it doesn't make full contact. Now, while this was all going on, I was actually in contact with Corsair's support. However, I remembered I had actually purchased an XG5 water block from Corsair. It ended up being used. I didn't realize I bought a used one, so that's why I ended up buying the XG7, because it was missing different pieces and stuff like that, and I just wanted a brand new one. However, I took it out and looked at it, and basically the entire inside parts all are identical to the XG7. The XG5 and the XG7, the only difference is the exterior. XG5 is acrylic, and the XG7 is got a metal plate on it. So that's really the only difference. So what I did was I noticed on the XG5 that the cold plate was a little more raised than the XG7. Now the cold plate is removed from here because I actually put it on the XG5. It sits right here normally with these 8 screws around it. This is what it looks like when it's removed from the water block.
Alright guys, how I knew that the plate was a little more raised was basically all I did was, you can look at it, right? You see the cold plate in here. I just used my fingernail and I was like, and you can kind of feel it. I mean, obviously I didn't measure it, and it's very unscientific and stuff like that, but you can tell with your fingernail, like, oh, that one's a little raised higher, or this one's a little lower. That's basically how I could tell that it was raised a bit more on the XG5 than the XG7.
And here's the outcome. So I put new thermal pads on. I didn't use the same ones that were there. These ones are a little more pliable, squishier, so they make better contact. They are the right size. And I also put a little thermal paste onto the GPU. Now I attached it and set it all up, and you can see clearly it is making good contact now. It's spreading out well onto the cold plate. So this is working much better.
So I thought everything was great, you know, so I'm playing games, having a good time. I mainly stream on the weekends. I mainly play the Division 2. And first weekend it was fine. It got a little warmer here, and this might be part of the issue that caused it. I was playing, and it would get to a point where I have to go to a place and load in the next level. That's when all of a sudden, boom, hard crash, just completely gone, right? I'd have to physically go over and power cycle the computer. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Made the assumption first that probably the Division. There's all kinds of issues with the Division right now with Delta and stuff like this. Never hard crashing, but I wasn't thinking about that. So played the rest of the night, fine, no issues. Next day, it happened 2 more times during the afternoon, and then late at night when I was streaming, happened another 2 times. I was like, all right, something's up now. People suggested maybe the PSU is overheating and things like that, and I'm like, oh, I have a new PSU, I could switch that out and see what's going on. So that kind of ended the night. The next day I said, screw it. I went and downloaded OCCT, which basically a lot of you guys may know or may not know. It is like performance and stress testing your computer and things like that. So I installed that. I ran their standard GPU test, which basically will hammer the GPU and shows you the thermals and everything like that. So I'm running that test, and I'm watching it, and the GPU on average is about 65 degrees, which is great. It's staying nice and cool. However, the hotspot sensor, basically up over 100. I was like, oh my god, 100 degrees. So I was quickly Googling. It says it's okay up to about 110 degrees, and then that's when your PCB will be basically like fried, essentially. So I'm watching it's going 103, 104, 106, and then all of a sudden, boom, hard crash. I'm like, all right, that's what it is. GPU is overheating and it's crashing. So once again, emptied it. I took it all apart, looked at it, and to be honest, it didn't look terrible, but the actual, I didn't get a photo of this one, so unfortunately I can't show you the actual GPU, the GPU actually had a big chunk that didn't have thermal paste on it. And you know as well as I do, like usually it squishes in, thermal paste squishes out the sides. It's almost like people always complain, you put too much paste on. You can't, right? You can't put too much paste on, especially non-conductive. You don't want to put a lot of conductive paste because it's going to shoot out and get on things that's not supposed to, but it's non-conductive. Doesn't matter how much thermal paste. Stop telling people you put too much thermal paste on. You can put not enough on. That's an issue, but you cannot put on too much. It's BS if you say that. What happens is it squishes and everything shoots out the sides, right? So you'll have, it's only going to retain enough in there for the contactor, right? It's not like there's going to be an extra set in there and it won't come, it's going to squish out, all right? That's one little gripe I just have of people telling me I put on too much thermal paste. Stop it. It's not true. Anyway, so when I separate it apart, they notice there's a big chunk of the GPU that didn't have thermal paste on it. Now I spread it out. When I put thermal paste on, I could put a good amount and I spread it out, so I made sure but it was like there was a solid contact there, but there was a little more on another side. So I don't know if that's what it was or if it's another issue on the board causing that hotspot, because a hotspot is just the hottest spot on. So there's like several sensors, so I don't know which one is causing the issue. So I don't know. I went ahead and RMA'd it with Corsair. I still have it here. I just showed you it. And so I'm going to get a new one. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I want to do. However, one thing I do want to do is I am going to take my GPU and put it back in the factory cooler, right? So basically the air cooler. I want to make sure I haven't broken it or fried it or did anything bad with it. I did notice Saturday night, my frames were a little weird. They were up and down, so I might have damaged the GPU. I want to put it back in the factory cooler and make sure everything is fine. So in this video, I'm going to finish up. I'll show you setting up the factory cooler again and go from there. We'll put it in the computer I have running right now, run some benchmarks, make sure it is good. All right. So that's it for now. So let's go install the factory cooler back onto the GPU. All right, guys, there you go. Real quick put together video putting this back together in the factory cooler. Now I'm going to throw it in here. We're going to go back and run some tests to see if it's messed up or if it's still good. We'll find out in a minute. All right, guys. All right, guys, there you have it. There it is installed. Small case modification. This case does not fit this 3080 Ti. I had to actually break a piece off right here for some 3.5-inch drives. You get the full-size drives here. Here's the external drives, but I had to break that off, and it fits fine now. So, ran it. Show you the results right now. All right, so here are the results. This is OCCT. I ran the 3D standard test. So as you can see here, we have, you can see the GPU hotspot right here. It averaged around 78 degrees, hit 82 at the highest. It's no longer going up to 106. So obviously this is running fine. It ran the whole thing 30 minutes perfectly fine. All right, guys, so there you have it. Pretty good. So I also did play last couple nights. I did install it a while ago. I wanted to run it for a few nights to make sure everything's good. I've been playing the Division 2, which was one of the games that was crashing on me. No crashes at all. Temps are staying at the highest. It maxes out at like 80, 82, right around there. But typically the hotspot gets to about 79, 78, floats around that spot. So we're looking good there. So graphics card, good frames, 144 the whole time through there because that's what the monitor runs at. So it kind of caps it right around there. I mean, you see the frames jump up to like 177, things like that at 4K, so it's running well. So now we're just waiting for Corsair to send us the RMA back. Once we have that, we'll do another video, see if that, if it's, I happen to have a bad block, or if it's kind of a Corsair thing. We'll have to figure something else out. All right, guys? So I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. And be sure to leave any comments if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And you can follow me at Twitch, at twitch.tv/Maniocrity, where I stream Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'd be happy to answer any questions live on stream. Until next time, YouTube, take it easy.